Hey there, I'm back with another video. It is 5:55 p.m. It is November 24th, Monday, late afternoon. Almost evening, but not quite. Okay, so I'm got a little extra time on my hands, and I was just kind of processing some thoughts. I had talked about my discontentment with the employment situation, and this apparently, from what I would understand, is this a network that I was once associated with, and I am not. I feel as though I don't know how to make myself any more clear. It's like, I feel so disturbed by their persistence of hanging on, their persistence in trying to deceive somebody, their persistence in, trying to tackle me and bringing me down. And it's like, I think this is because they normalize this behavior. And it's like, I'm standing up and saying, I'm tired of it, especially when I think about the duration of it. And what bothers me the most is the fact that, like I said, it's not cool for somebody to tell my son how to spend his money. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that I do feel as though that perhaps maybe Vladimir Putin has also experienced, this kind of specific abuse with his family, maybe his family he grew up with, or maybe the family that he had when he was an adult or whatever. I don't want to, I'm not going to dig too deeply into it. But when it comes to clones, this sort of stuff does not, or adopted kids in general, I don't believe that this is a very uncommon occurrence, because we have people who that they've been exposed to in environments where there's not really a maternal bond. And so you're going to have to be exposed to not only the abuse of the so-called stepmother, but also her bratty children, and then the children that are encouraged to bully these people. And then it just kind of builds from there. It is what it is. But anyway, so I had made a video earlier today talking about, my feelings about this intrusion that has entered into my household, okay, and their manipulation of my son. I had, stated before that I'm not comfortable with it, and it will end, okay? The message I'm getting right now is that I was adopted, therefore I am not obligated or responsible for anyone other than myself. And, like I said, I don't want to have any more issues with this. And the message that's popping in my mind is that something about these women, these women, okay, this is bully women, okay? These bully women are basically, I guess, I shouldn't have any sympathy for them. Like, I shouldn't have any sympathy. I do believe that this was inspired by maybe one of the overweight women that was a part of the network. Could be an extension of Mary Landucci, or maybe other women that were associated with this group. Okay, I don't know how clear I need to make it. Do not ever bother me again. Like, do not interfere with my life. Do not touch my things. Reverse what you have on the bank. That includes my son's bank. I don't know what in the world you think you're doing. But the message that these people seem to be obsessed about is the fact that I have some sort of connection with Putin. Like I said, there's one thing I hate more and cannot respect is a jealous woman. I really can't. That is not your place. And so you are basically creating things like, you're participating in gigs. And I'm going to if my son watches this video, I want my son to understand that he has the right to take these people to court, to turn them in, and to sue them, okay? Sue them for everything that these people have. The message I'm getting right now is that my son is most likely thinking about me at this moment, and that, yes, there is no sympathy for these women. There's no sympathy for these women, okay? Because they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, okay? Like I said, I was betrayed by my mother. Well, it wasn't really betrayal. I mean, I was stuck in a crappy situation. And of course, my my ex-siblings have, faked their, feelings for me. They would gossip, and I had to deal with a bunch of people that were not worthy of me my entire life, okay? And so one thing you're not going to do, and I'm not going to allow for you to bring your toxicity into my home through my son, okay? So somebody who would attempt to do that does not understand how sacred family units are supposed to be. Okay, obviously, what these people are trying to do is detach me from the life that I am comfortable with. whether that be my little routine, my arts and crafts, my clothes. I do get the feeling they were really trying to attack my clothes. They were also trying to attack, the kinds of foods that I eat, the kind of stuff that makes me me, okay? Which I have the right to be. So they want to attack these sort of things. And do I believe that my son is somehow in communication with these people? If he is, and I'm sure that he is, okay? Because something told me that something was wrong with all of that, and I'm not comfortable with it, okay? So I value my relationship with my son. I do believe that my son is very naive, okay? But I'm going to tell him right now, and if he sees this video, he has the right to sue these people, okay? Do not have any sympathy for these people. You make sure you put these people in their place. And you know what? My son, since these people have involved my son probably has a face to who specifically is the person, the mastermind behind manipulating my son's finances as well as mine. My son has authorization and every right to take these people to court if he wants to. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is these people look at themselves as inferior. They're constantly comparing themselves to me. There should be no sympathy for these people. No sympathy whatsoever. Okay, like I said, you have messed with my life entirely too long. You have affected my credit. You're trying to control what I spend. You're trying to sit here trying to manipulate me. What I do with my life is none of your business, okay? If you want somebody like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess they're jealous because, like I said, I didn't know much about this Vladimir Putin thing until like the last few weeks. And like I said, he was just kind of floating around in my third eye. These people keep track of stuff more than I do in my life, okay? But anyway, my point is that this sort of behavior is not justified. Just because she might be jealous or she might want to feel, that is not my responsibility. Okay? You do not ever affect my life, ever in any way. You don't sit here and call my bank and try to put the whole funds on there. You don't tell my son how to spend his own money. Okay? I want my son, if you have somehow manipulated my son into conspiring against me, I want my son to realize that he can take you to court. Okay? And it's as simple as that. It is what it is, okay? Now the town, I feel the town is very quiet right now. Okay? I'm starting to feel a very quiet tone in the community right now. The message I'm getting right now is all is well. I should stay in the present moment and keep my mind open. Also, my son is thinking about me, about this issue. Something about Vladimir Putin. Confirming that Vladimir Putin's family may have also abused him in this sort of manner. Okay, no more. No more. Okay, you have the ability to stand up for yourself. Okay, just because we're put in this situation through illegal means. That's really important. Okay, that means that these people who sit here and try to, are so-called family members and all these other people, they don't have any right to sit here and keep barking and trying to get stuff or manipulate people and everything, especially if you're an adult, okay? Done with it. Done with it, okay? My son's happy and he's content, and I want this to be the end of it. Do not ever sit here and manipulate and abuse my son that way and then try to bring your issues into me. Now, I know that like the last few weeks, my son was supposed to pay my phone bill, right? My phone bill. I personally think that these people purposely wanted my phone bill to get disconnected. You know why? Because that is my business line. Okay, and they're just doing stuff and creating problems just to be creating problems. Number one, they have no right to know the schedule of my bills or anything like that. Okay, so I want my son to take you and put you in jail. I want you to go to jail. You either go to jail or you blow your brains out. Okay, either way, stay out of my life. Okay, the message I'm getting right now is that nobody should feel any pity for these kind of people at all. So anyway, so I'm just kind of sitting here at in my room, and because I want the end of it. Like I'm somebody who I've been trying for the last 10 years to figure out what all this nonsense was all about. Okay, and I've been dealing with fake people. My fake family and all this other. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Okay, and then we got these overweight women who are sitting here trying to bully me and create this sort of toxicity into my life, and then trying to bring it into my home. These people do not understand that your family is sacred. I bet you they don't care anything about their families. Okay, these people, these same kind of women are going around encouraging other women to participate in this stuff. A lot of people are losing their jobs right now. A lot of people lose their jobs right now, and they deserve it. They deserve it. Okay, so just like you trying to pollute my home or whatever, I don't know if it's Terry Collins, Jennifer Collins, or whatever, stay out of my life. Stay out of my life. Get out and stay out. Okay, I do not ever want to see you again. It should be pretty understood that that I feel this way. But anyway, yeah, this kind of manipulation in employment is very common with a lot of people, a lot of ignorant people. A lot of ignorant people do this sort of stuff. You know what I mean? And it's like, this is what makes the work life an absolute misery. You know what I mean? And I will say that I recognize how burdensome that these people have made life. I am tired of dealing with these people. I don't care, what kind of religious excuse you come up with. There is no way in the world you could ever convince me that you have anything to do with something divine or anything like that. Okay? It's just you wanting to be, in competition or whatever. Okay? And you have wasted enough of my life. Okay? And I'm tired of it. So stay the hell away from my son. And if my son needs to get, like I said, needs to take you to court, and if you have taken any money from me or my son, like for example, I was talking about my son supposed to be getting some sort of check. If you mess with his money, I want to make sure that my son sues you for everything that you have, for everything that you have. Okay, and now I'm starting to feel this tone, this really quiet tone. It's like a feeling. It's like a drop in the environment or something. Yeah, we have the right to do that. Okay, and that's your own fault. It's your own fault. I was thinking today how it would be kind of cool. I don't feel sorry for the people who end up losing their job. I don't feel sorry. I don't think that they should have any sort of resources available to them either. You know why? Because these people made my life a living hell. They made my life a living hell. Okay, I don't care what happens to them. Why? Because I should have a live in peace of mind. I should not have to sit here and worry about finding a job. I should not have to sit here and worry about being harassed anywhere at all. And I certainly, I don't want to have anything to do with people trying to bring me down to their level just because. Okay, I'm not responsible for your problems. You don't need to tell me what to do. If I want to go out and buy a brand new wardrobe, that's my prerogative. Okay? And if you're not happy with yourself, then do something about it. But you stay the hell out of my life. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that yes, I have reversed the time for opportunities and managed to create satisfaction in others. And then something about me expecting a nice Christmas. I hope I do. I hope I do have Christmas this year. You know what I mean? Because I mean, I'm so tired of these people, these wicked people. And yes, they're wicked. You know what I mean? They're extremely. Oh, I want to mention something about the video I just recently uploaded. I just uploaded a video, and I took some of the images off of, just a quick Google search or whatever. And I know it's one of those images that when you use it in a video, it changes into a strange, weird color. You know what I mean? And I think it does that to kind of flag the fact that you're using an image that's not what you call approved. That might be the reason why it does that. So if you look at that video and it's like, oh, that's a tacky picture, well, that's probably the reason why. Because it didn't look that way when I uploaded it when I created it on PowerPoint, but when I uploaded it to YouTube, then it just changed to this weird color. Okay, the message I'm getting right now is that I am free to be recognized as a single. See, I don't know. Um, that must be a big deal in this community because I get the feeling that throughout the long time that Bakersfield has been here, they may have practiced this sort of behavior. It may be normal to them. Okay, it's normal to them. And like I said, I had made a statement. Well, if I'd like to leave Bakersfield, and they should have cleared up this issue right away and made accommodations for me to be able to find somewhere else to go. Okay, because I'm disturbed by what I'm seeing and the illegal activity that goes on. Okay, and it just really does not. It's a nightmare. Okay. And so, I tried to wanted to move and leave out of the community several times, but because I was gang stalked and blacklisted, that made it impossible. I do understand that I am due some sort of compensation, and yeah, I deserve that. Okay, I don't, and then after I had talked about compensation, then we have the same person telling my son, okay, don't pay Maria this and this. This is what I'm telling you. These people are not repentant, so they deserve to die on the street. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that my story has a mystical and prophetic feel to it, and this is what attracts a lot of people, and they want to be a part of this story because it proves my divinity. So, like for example, there could very well be some people from my past that want to reunite with me only because of this story being so phenomenal. You know what I mean? Because at first everybody was attacking me because of some bullshit, a lie about the church and all this other stuff, and then they were attacking me. And then they grew up, all these people that I grew up with, because they were so bullyish, they were so negative and never gave me any chance to speak up for myself. They always thought that something was wrong with me. No, there's nothing wrong with me. Okay, and I've been saying this for a very long time. You watched me go into the Kingdom Hall. You watched me, become who I was the entire time in front of you. Okay, and it's not like when I was working at Murray Family Farms, I was being competed with all the time. And why was I being competed with? Because, and then why did you sit here and act like I wasn't analytical when I took that test? So you knew good and well that I was an intelligent person. You just didn't want me to have access to my soul tribe. You just didn't want me to be a part on YouTube. You just didn't want me to have any opportunities. So you took it upon yourself to try to squash me out. And that's exactly what you did. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why they were going around exaggerating my story to the president and making up all kinds of lies, as if I was some sort of slut or something like that. First of all, like I said, I want to address this issue about being a slut. I would say I talked about my sexual encounters when I was growing up. I didn't have very many, but like I said, most women are far more promiscuous than me, had a longer time period of being sexually active than me. So, and like I said, just if I was a slut, let's just say, for example, I slept with everybody in this town, okay, and Taft included, and I threw in Shafter as well. That is not illegal, believe it or not. Okay, now mind you, I'm somebody who sits here in my home. So we usually, when women bring up this issue about you being another woman being a slut, is because she's not getting laid enough. This is a fact. Okay, because they feel jealous. Okay, especially if you are a woman who is stuck in a relationship with somebody that you don't really like. Okay, and so you sit here and you want to sit and point out other people to be jealous of. That's none of your business. Okay, and no, I would say I'm a very reserved person. Nobody can sit here and say that I'm a slut. Okay, nobody can say that. So, and then all the other lies about, something about Bruce and having Bruce never fought for custody of my son. Okay, Bruce was sitting here telling me flat out he wasn't paying any child support. So I took it upon myself. So all of these people are nothing more than a bunch of pathological liars, gossipers, people who want to hate me. They want to hate me, but they don't have really a reason to hate me. So they're just pulling things out of their ass. Also, I understand these people grew up very ignorant. They grew up in the dark. They grew up possibly in very strong fundamentalist homes to where women didn't have any opportunities, And I know, even though I didn't grow up in a fundamentalist home, but I still kind of grew up in that sort of environment where the mother stayed at home and the dad worked and all this other stuff. Okay, but they may have, seeing somebody like me throws them off, but you need to also understand that the reason why I was persecuted is because I was CB Braganza. Okay, and CB Braganza came with a reputation from the church, okay, which automatically set me apart from everyone else, okay. Something was wrong. People believe something was wrong with me. The only thing is that I do have mystical powers, okay, I do, okay, but I am not an evil person. It's obvious quite to the Masons that I'm somebody who is very, associated with the divine. Like I said, the Masons recognize me as someone who is divine, but I've always run into problems with the church, and the church has stolen things from me that you don't even believe. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why there was all this disrespect for CB Braganza from all these little Mormon kids and all the Palladian kids and all this other stuff. So they don't really listen or think about the history, and the history of it is that I am a product of Joseph Mengele's experiment. Right there, that has nothing to do with the church. You know that it doesn't. Okay, but how does the church collide with this story? It's the fact that we have these illegal adoptions, and then of course the genealogy records that get tracked by the Mormon Church and all this other stuff. So that people give me some sort of bad rap. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. People can say whatever they want to about me, but I am who I am. I don't appreciate people trying to change my life. Okay, and so the person who was communicating with my son, do not show this person any sympathy. If you want to take this person to court, you go right ahead. That is if they don't blow their brains out first. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they do. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that something about me and Vladimir will have a fun relationship, and we're not going to have any pressure. I want to get to know him as a friend and do things with him, but I don't, and we'll see how that goes. I don't really appreciate people sticking their nose in our business. Whatever we talk about, we'll talk about. Okay. But yeah, anyway, and my son's thinking about me at the moment. What's he thinking about? Something about these women. Okay, um, these women are highly problematic. Okay, they are highly problematic, and it is what it is. Okay, but I think what my son needs to understand is that I do not consider myself to be friends with anybody. Like I don't consider myself to be friends with anybody. So my son needs to understand that anybody that comes up to my son and tries to act like they're doing something on my behalf, or pretending to be concerned about me, or wants to know something about my business, my son needs to understand to keep his mouth shut. You know why? Because all these people are trying to do is use him for information. I'm not going to let that happen anymore. Okay? Because I don't trust anybody in this community. It's sad but true. Okay? What else do you want to talk about? Okay, something about Gordon's occupational engineering. Now, like I said, my phone got disconnected, so I switched to another phone line. But when it comes to getting customers, it seems like this community is really backwards. Like a bunch of people will sit here and talk about it, and then they want to debate about who could actually work where and all this other stuff. It's like I feel like I'm living in some Neanderthal place. You know what I mean? This is my business, and I have the right to conduct it. Period. You know what I mean? And without people forming committees and discussing it, it's like it's just it's retarded, is what it is. Okay, it's just absolutely retarded. Yeah, I'm not happy with it. The other message I'm getting right now is something about people agree with me getting rid of the human scrap heap. You know what I mean? I don't feel sorry for people like Alita, and I don't know who this woman is that maybe my son might be associated with, but it's unacceptable. I'm not accepting it. I don't want anybody bothering me with it. And like I said, everybody from my past, or anybody who participated in this at the moment, should know that I look at this issue as very serious. Okay, I'm somebody who has been traumatized year after year after year after leaving Murray Family Farms. Okay, anybody who wants to make light of a situation of being betrayed by my family, okay, and in being what do you call it, exploited in a public manner. If you think that I'm going to be okay with people from my past, or people that I don't want coming around trying to get information or dig up on me, or trying to get close to me, when I'm making it very clear I want nothing to do with you, I'm always going to reject you. So you need to understand that. Okay, I don't want that. Okay, and there's nothing, these people who are trying to communicate with my son or make my son do stuff that he doesn't want to do, these people need to go to hell. That's what they need to do. The message I'm getting right now is that my spiritual philosophy is powerful and I am correct. Many people find my messages when it comes to spirituality very powerful. And then also, yes, the companies and the government offices got audited, and I was right. You know, like I said, I'm not content. I mean, I'm not happy with what this person did. I would prefer that my son bring this person to justice. Okay. Something about Putin thinks that I'm his friend. I'm his friend. And my son is proud of me. Okay. So that's it, really. I'm putting an end to what these people have done. Okay, I want it done. I'm tired of waking up or trying, or having little hints that they're lingering around, and that includes like the Valley Credit Union, whatever that place is, Rally Strong, whatever. Okay, their little holds on my stuff. I am tired of having to have some sort of like notice that these people are lingering around. I want them out of my existence. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is yes, I have the right to do whatever I want. I am living within the guidelines of the law, meaning like I have the right to move how I please, buy what I want, go where I want, wear what I want, and live the way that I want. I have the right to do that. Okay, and something about that's I have the right to do that. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I do not choose to be around these people. So my son needs to understand that I will choose who I want to be around. I do not want people acting like they're trying to be friends with me, or trying to get close to me, or my son needs to stop talking to people about me, because I will tell you, none of these people have my best interests at heart. Everybody that my son probably knows and is around is probably lying. I don't trust them. So anyway, and something about me being correct about me being over the age of 18 and free to do what I wish. See, these people are trying to suppress me in some way, okay? And they're trying to trick my son into helping whatever, okay? No more. Okay? No more. I am done with it. Okay? So like I said, if my son needs to take this bitch to court, take him to court. Because I'm done. The message I'm getting right now is that I am recognized as a social scientist, and people are understanding more of my philosophy. And yes, and Christianity is a lie. I don't want to hear this person trying to tell my son that this is a religious issue. And like I said, coming to understand my background with me studying the Bible when I was younger, I really do not ever want anybody coming up to me trying to talk about biblical stuff or trying to make me adhere to their interpretation of their Bible. I don't want to hear it. Okay? I do not want to hear it. Okay? Because everything that you say out of your mouth is self-serving, and it's a lie, and it's none of your business. The message I'm getting right now is that everybody is amazed at my story, and people are actually looking at me like, with respect, because I think maybe a lot of people have never thought to stand up for themselves in these ridiculous situations. Okay? But I am. Okay, and a lot of times, I'm sure there's women in this community who have been themselves bullied by women who can't control themselves. That's not your fault. That's not your problem. The message I'm getting right now is, they probably have been. Okay, and it's like I refuse to let people sit here and do this to me. I'm not going to put up with it. Okay, so like I said, I want my son to make sure that he takes these people to court, and my son better make sure that these people, that his accounts, his bank accounts, there's no dings on his bank account. He needs to make sure that these people are not getting payouts on him. We also need to make sure that I think there's some sort of company that can see if there's life insurance policies taken out on us. Yes, employers have been guilty of setting people up for death, okay, to collect on life insurance money. I need my soul tribe to be on that, okay? Because I will tell you, in a community like this, you cannot let anything go by. Because a lot of these people, they just want money. Just like, when I was working at Valley Prosthetic and Orthotic, whatever that place is called. It's over there off 21st on downtown or whatever. I remember, now Joanna, she was my boss back in 2014. Now I'm trying to remember, did she come before Flourishing Fart or whatever? But these two companies are together. Now, I'm not saying that Joanna is guilty of life insurance fraud or anything, but I do know that shortly, or maybe a few years after I left that company, Joanna's name was in the newspaper because she had stole money from the company. Now, I understand these people are very warped and very twisted, and they want prestige. They want to be acknowledged for something, okay? But they're not willing to do anything professional. They want glam, they want glitz, they want they want material things, okay? Like I remember her talking to me about she went to the mall and all this other stuff or whatever. They want these sort of things, but they don't really want to work for it, okay? So anyway, people like human targets, and I think it's very common within this community for them to always feel like they need to get married first, like to do something. Okay, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to this community. It's just that's just not how it is. Okay, and that's not legal. Okay, so the message I'm getting right now is that many employees will be losing their jobs at the Valley Strong Credit Union. Okay, and I'm glad that they will be. I'm glad that they will be. Okay. Really, I mean, when you think about it, when it comes to human trafficking, I was thinking how going forward, I think, there needs to be more enforcement in law when it comes to human trafficking. There also needs to be more expedient consequences for this sort of thing. There needs to be, and what I mean by expedient is like, okay, I know I talked about people calling agencies like, the Department of Human Trafficking, or possibly a police department or something. But there needs to be people who are quick on this, okay? People also understand, I'm making a video right now, but like people, and hopefully it will help people in certain industries, okay? Especially places like police departments and financial institutions. Why financial institutions is because you need to make sure that your each customer profile is, legitimate. Okay, there, when it comes to my customer profile, at I do not have a joint account. Okay, I do not have a joint account. I do not have, no one has authorization to my account. I am the only one on it. Okay, so nobody has any right to come in or have any say so about what goes on in my account. But see, I personally think that these people are so illegal. They'll pretend or act as if like some employers got some sort of say so over it. And where does all this bizarre thinking come from? It comes from some old fashioned type religious type belief system. Like I talked about this in Human Targets about the debt bondage system, or how some employers would actually make it feel is for employees to feel like they own them. Like kind of like that song, the 16-ton song, right? Where it's just so beyond oppressive. We have laws now to, because that has been recognized. That is wrong. It's like it's inhumane to do this to human beings. Okay, if you are making people work at a certain level, like for example, you can have a job, but your employer tells you what to do with your money. That's very similar to debt bondage, right? So why is it so that my son should sit here and work a job when he's not getting any benefit for it? He's not gaining anything for it. He doesn't have control over it. He's not allowed to sit here and buy a PlayStation if it breaks down or fix his car. He has to get somebody's permission to do it. That right there is a form of slavery and it's illegal. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is everyone is amazed at my story and they are looking at me as some sort of like leader. But it's true. This is one of the reasons I noticed when I came here in Bakersfield. I understand employment law, and I realized it's like, okay, there's a lot of violations here. I remember talking to Joel when he was my husband. I said, I noticed when I first came here that there was just a lot of employment violations, okay? And you know what? A lot of times I just turned a blind eye, and I knew that there was people who said like stupid, ignorant things that would come out of their mouth, right? But now that I have dealt with what Alita and Mary have Lucci has done, and then dealing with people trying to tell us how we're supposed to spend our money, and then somebody sitting here trying to tell me how I'm supposed to wear, what I'm supposed to wear, and all this other stuff. You go straight to hell, bitch. You go straight to hell. Okay, and I hope my son takes you to court. I hope he does. Okay, if that is, of course, if you don't blow your brains out first. Okay, no more. I am so done with you. And the message I'm getting right now is that Gordon's Occupational Engineering is looked upon as a company that is successful. And I'm thinking, okay, how is this successful when I haven't really done anything yet? Okay, I really haven't done anything yet. Okay, but what it is because people get together and they literally act as if they're going to sit here and debate, who I'm supposed to work with and all this other stuff. And this is why, and it shouldn't be this way. Stay the hell away from my business. Do not touch my things. It's Gordon's Occupational Engine, not the Baker City of Bakersfield, not some fat bitches who wants to bully me. What do you call a company? Stay the hell out of my stuff. Don't discuss my stuff. Don't sit here and act like you have authorization over my stuff. You don't. You stay the fuck out of it. Stupid bitch. You know what I mean? I don't really care if your husband beats you to death. I don't. Like I said, you know why? Because you deserve it. After 12 years, 12 consecutive years of tormenting a person, torturing a person, financially abusing a person, you deserve it. You deserve it. Okay? And I'm not somebody who condones men beating women. I am not, okay? But I'm going to tell you something. These sort of women are like no other. They are like no other women that seriously, when these sort of like, I bet you this woman who's manipulating my son, I bet you she's fat. I bet you she is. I bet you she's fat. And I'm not, like I said, I grew up feeling sympathy for these people. I remember making excuses for my mom. I would stand up for Lisa. You know what I mean? But I knew, looking back throughout my life, I remember my family has always been evil, low-key evil, okay? And then the people I used to know, same thing. These overweight women, they always want to inflict their fat on you. They will demand that you be fat. They cannot stand it, okay? I'm sorry, but this is the way it is. I don't dig with these women, okay? I feel sympathy to a certain degree if they choose to want to fix themselves up. Either fix themselves up, okay, or accept the way that they are. Either way, leave me the hell alone. Okay, I don't want anything to do with you. Obviously, I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want your influence in my house. I don't want you talking to my son. Period. Okay, the message I'm getting right now is that everything should be going well for me in the next couple months, and I hope so. Okay, my son is very happy and proud. I'm addressing this issue. He must have seen my last video. I don't know, but whatever the case is, I'm tired of it. Okay. You know, it's unfortunate that this actually happened, but I'm just, I don't want it anymore. Okay. And I got to think about my future, and I have to think about my son's future, and we need to think about how we can figure out a way to get out of Bakersfield. Okay, because this is ridiculous. Okay, and nobody is ever going to make any progress in their life if people have to live under this super stupid system. It's ridiculous. Okay, and it's scary too, because it's like there's no honesty in this community. Everybody's a criminal. Seriously, it's ridiculous. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video, and I will be back with another video sometime later. Take care. Bye bye.